Gananam tva ganapatigam havamahe kavim kavinamupamashravastamam Jyeshtarajam brahmanam brahmanaspata anashranvannotibhissedasadanam Shri Mahaganadhipataye namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave namaha Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Bhadram Karne Vishrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashyemakshaviryajatraha Sthirairangai Istuštuvagam Sastanubhihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti na Starkshyo Arishtanemihi Swasti no Bruhaspatir Dadhatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dear friends, we are in this Mundakopanishad. Mundakopanishad, the first part, first khanda is completed. It was completed in the last class. Mundakopanishad, the first part, first khanda has been completed in the last class. So in this we have seen, to start with, the Upanishad started telling about the Vamsha Parampara, who taught it first and to whom, and then from him to whom it was passed on, etc. That is the Vidya Vamsha Parampara. Then we see one gentleman called Shaunaka. He was a Grihastha. He went to Angirasa, who is a guru, and then he asked him, O Lord, tell me, there is one thing I have heard. There is one thing by knowing which you know everything. What is that? You please tell me. So we read all the Bhashyam and all that. Then the teacher said, yes, there are two Vidyas. There are two types of Vidyas. One is a higher type of Vidya. Another type is a lower type of knowledge. Vidya means knowledge. A higher type of knowledge and a lower type of knowledge. And then he first said what was the lower type of knowledge. That is the Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharvaveda, etc. The same books, the same scriptures which we consider as the most supreme text. So, and this Upanishad also is part of that supreme text only. And then the Upanishad itself is saying that its status is that of a lower, it is a lower status. So long as it is understood as a mere text, so long as it is followed as a mere text, it is a lower knowledge only. But if you see the meaning and then if you follow the meaning and then if you try to realize the self, then that itself becomes a higher knowledge. It is not as though there is a separate book, there is a separate text or anything. The same Upanishad which is analyzing all our human experiences, all the human knowledge, the limitations of human knowledge, the relationship between Jiva and Brahma. So once you start thinking about them, the moment you start thinking on that and developing on that, then growing on that, then that becomes the higher knowledge. So that differentiation was made. Apara Vidya is Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, and all the limbs of the 6 limbs and all that. Then immediately the Upanishads, it gave a definition of what is that supreme reality. It did not tell what is Paravidya. Paravidya is the questioner, that is student Shaunaka, he only questioned what is that by knowing which I can know everything. So instead of saying, yes, this is what you have to know, the teacher wanted to give a broader picture. He wanted to give a broader picture. So he first said what is the lower type of wisdom and then what is the higher type of wisdom. And instead of saying what is the higher type of wisdom, he straight away described what is that Brahma. Because the knowledge of Brahma is, and how to realize, the realization of that thing, that itself becomes the higher Vidya, higher knowledge. So that is what is his intention. So that is why he started defining what is that supreme reality. That is, we saw in three mantras, 3 or 4 mantras, that is Yattad Adreshyam, Agrahyam, Agotram, etc. It is beyond senses and all those things. Then again he started telling about the Srushti, Yathava Urnana Visrujate Grunhateva. The idea of telling about Srushti, you may recall that the idea is not to tell about the process in which that entire evolution has taken place. Srushti is that evolution, how this evolution has taken place. The idea is not to tell about the reality of the evolution. The idea is to tell that what all we see is nothing but Brahma. What all we see is only What we see is Brahman only. Brahman is appearing as this universe. So that is what the text, that is what we have seen in the commentary. Then he explained that sequence, tapasa chiyate brahma tato annam abhijayate, how there is one, the supreme reality doesn't undergo any change. And then there is what is called maya vachinna chaitanya. When it is associated with its creative power called maya, it is called Ishvara. And then from that, this annam is that, what is that? Avyakruta. And that Avyakruta, that Hiranyagarbha comes. Hiranyagarbha means the first jiva. The first jiva. And then from that first jiva, all this manas, satyam, lokaha, etc., all the things which we see, the whole diversity which we see, all that comes from that. So then the last mantra was Yes Sarvajnaha Sarvavitu, Yasya Jnanamayam Tapaha. At two levels it described again. Two levels means one is at the level of Sarvajna, that is the cosmic intelligence, and then the micro intelligence also, a Sarvavit, Jiva Rupena Sarvam Janati. In that supreme reality, there is no differentiation between Jnata and Jnayam. There is no differentiation between the knower, known and knowledge. That is pure consciousness. But at the level of Ishvara, there is Jnanam about Srushti, about the macro intelligence. And then later, the same supreme, the same Ishvara is reflected in the minds or antahkarana of all the beings which are, which have evolved. So that is, in that form, in the form of that intelligence, he is able to know what is all happening in the minds of even an ant or a mosquito, all the beings, and then he is able to know everything. He is able to experience everything through the antahkarana, through the organs, through the limbs of all the beings. So that is why it is called, he is called Sarvajna and also Sarvavit. So that is where, say, the first khanda, that is the first part of the first chapter of Mundaka completed. Then we have to see the second chapter. In this second chapter, again the Guru is not talking about the Paravidya. He is not talking about the Paravidya, that is the higher level of knowledge. He is again telling in greater detail about the lower, say, type of knowledge, the lower knowledge. Why? Because it is only when you know what is the lower thing, then only you try to go beyond it. What is available to you, and what is 99% of 99% or 99.9% of the people are doing. 99.9% of the people are only following the same pravrutti marga. So this pravrutti marga means the pursuit of things in life, pursuit of all good things in life. Good things means not necessarily unlawful, but lawful also, dharmika also. There are two types of things. That is, one is, it may be good, it may be pleasing to you, but then it may not be a dharmic thing. But then there are things which are also pleasing and which are also in accordance with dharma. Dharmyam it is called. Dharmyam is dharma anapetam, that which is in conformity with dharma. So such things are also there. But then that again it comes under the say purview of, or it falls under the purview of the lower level of knowledge. So now in this second khanda, we are going to have a picture of this lower knowledge. What is this lower knowledge? It is telling about what is called karma. We can read the mantra. We'll read the mantra, then again I will explain to you the karma, etc. Of course, you have heard about a lot about karma and sanchita karma, agami karma, etc., etc., because you have heard 3 or 4 Upanishads and also Gita Bhashyam. But someone who is listening to Mundakopanishad for the first time and who has not listened to any other Upanishads earlier or any other Vedanta earlier, we have to give a brief picture of what is meant by karma, etc. So I will first read the mantra and then give a small introduction to karma. Let us read. Tadetat satyam mantreshu karmani kavayo yanyapashyan tani tretayam bahudha santatani tanyacharathaniyatam satyakama yeshavah panthas sukrutasya loke. So the Upanishad is just telling, you do this, this is good for you. So that is the tone of that shloka or mantra. The tone of the mantra is, what people have been doing in the name of various karma, etc. Okay, yes, that is also approved. That is also good. It is also good at a particular level. It is not as though the Upanishad is totally condemning karma. Upanishad is saying, yes, karma is putting a man on the right track. We know that the Vedas, it is something like Vedas, say usually the Vedanta teachers say that all our Vedas, they are like a super mall. They give you what all you want. You go for a petty thing, it will give. You go for a very, very great thing, it will give. So it is something like a great super mall where people of all levels, people who are there at all levels, they get what all they want. So somebody who is at the level of, say, okay, he wants to perform some ritual, he wants to do something, and then he wants to get some good result. He wants to pray to particular god, he wants to pray to some other god for some other result. All those things, they are permitted, they are all allowed, they are all mentioned there. And at a higher level, it also tells about what is the supreme reality. So Vedas are like that. So that is why Vedas do not condemn anything. Vedas, they say, okay, if you are a man who are at the level of karma, you please do karma. It is good for you. And then that will give you some chitta shuddhi. And after that chitta shuddhi, you enter into a higher class. So that is what they say. So that is why they say, the Upanishad is saying, Tadeta satyam mantreshu karmani kavayo yanyapashyan. Kavayaha means rishis. Kavi, you know the word kavi. Kavi, the normal meaning of kavi is a poet. But here it is not poet. In Upanishads, kavi, the word kavi is used to refer to even Brahma also. Kaviram manishi, you get in Kathopanishad, kaviram manishi. So like that, kavi is somebody who is able to see. Somebody who is able to see everything. So that... Okay, you can call it Trikala Jnana also. So one who is able to see. So that is, kavi is a rishi. A rishi also, it means one who sees completely, everything. So this rishis, karmani yanyapashyan, they have seen. Apashyan means they saw. They saw karmani. Karmani is plural of karma. That is all types of karmas, rituals, yajna, various types of, you can call it yajna, you can call it a ritual, you can call it some other upasana, etc., etc. So all these things, where did they see? In mantreshu, in all these several mantras which are there in Rigveda, Yajurveda, in all these Vedas, they have seen the Vedic rishis, they have seen various mantras. And all that is satyam. Satyam means, yes, they are all useful. They are all useful, they give you results. Satyam means, they are all real, they give you results. Tad etat satyam. You see, all these are functional, they are all useful, they are all efficient to give you some result. Whatever result you want, they will give you. Tadeta satyam, all that is real. What? Mantreshu karmani kavayo yanyapashyan. All the karmas which have been visualized or seen by various rishis and various mantras. All that is true. Then, tani tretayam bahudha santatani. Tretayam. Treta, two meanings are given here by Shankaracharya. One is where there is a combination of three people. Advaryu, Hota, and the other person is, who are the people? Brahma is one. Advaryu, Hota, Udgata. Yeah, Hota, Advaryu, Udgata. These three people, they are important people there in that yajna. They are important in the sense that one man is reciting Rigveda, another man is reciting Yajurveda, another man is in charge of Samaveda. So all the three are important. So that Treta is a yajna where all the three people are there. So that is one meaning. Another meaning is, we know the word Treta Yuga. Treta Yuga means our time, in our reckoning of time, we have got what is called 4 yugas in every kalpa. You know what is called a kalpa. Kalpa means one cycle of creation. In one cycle of creation which goes to a measure of so many billions of years, say in that thing, one part is what is called, the first part is called Kruta Yuga. That is where there is more dharma, more peace, more order, more good things. And then slowly it comes and then it keeps on declining. Treta Yuga is the second one. Dwapara is the third one, and Kali Yuga is the fourth one, and we are said to be in Kali Yuga, Prathama Pada, that is the first part of Kali Yuga. There are 4 padas again, so we do not know how it will be in the 4th pada, we do not know, but then right now we are said to be in the Prathama Pada of Kali Yuga. That is why we say when you do perform puja, Kali Yuge, Prathama Pade, we say like that. Jambu Dvipe, Bharatavarsha, etc., we say. So this Treta, two meanings are given here. One meaning is the Yajna where these three people are there. The second meaning is Treta Yuga. It seems in Treta Yuga, all these Yajnas, they became very, very popular. Kruta Yuga, Yajnas were not so popular. Treta Yuga, they became very popular. Dwapara, slowly they declined, and Kali Yuga, now they say, Yajna may not be Kalaus, Sankirtanat, Kevalam Hari Kirtanat, they say. In Kali Yuga, you get by reciting various stotrams. If you recite stotram, and then if you pray normally, if you do your normal prayers, that is good enough. You need not do tapas, you need not do yajna, etc. That is what has been told. So things are getting simplified more and more. So Tretayam Bahudha Santatani. They were all very prevalent. They were all much in vogue in Treta Yuga. So that is what it is. Then Tan Yacharatha Nityam. You all Acharatha. Acharatha is plural. You all do. Acharatha means you all perform. Nityam. Nityam means always. Always means regularly. Nityam in this sense not always means regularly, in a regular way. Then Satya Kamaha. Satya Kamaha means here not Satyam does not refer to Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, not that Brahma. Satya here is the karma phala. Karma phala, that which is that karma, every karma gives you some result. So Satya Kamaha means those who are desirous of the fruit of your action, of the fruit of that yajna. Then Satya Kamaha, Yeshavah Panthaha. This is the path for you. Pantha means path. Pantha and path, all cognate words. Yeshavah Pantha. This is the path for you. Sukrutasya loke. Sukrutasya means Swayam Krutasya. You are the master of your own destiny. You can create what all you want. You want to go to some Swargaloka, you perform something. You want something else, you perform something else. So there are various activities or karmas or rituals which are designed to give different types of results. So one man may worship one type of deity, and then he may like to go to a particular, he may like to achieve a particular type of loka. Another man may like to achieve something else. So Sukrutasya loke is Swayam Krutasya, Swayam Nirvartitasya Karmanaha. That is what Shankaracharya is going to say. So what he says is, this is all something which you can create your own. What all you want, you can create. So Yeshavah Panthaha. This is the path for you. You perform actions. So now I have to tell you what exactly is the karma, etc. So in the Vedic structure, in our Upanishadic structure or in Gita, of course you find a very great, these karmas have been described in great detail, particularly in Karma Yoga, introduction and all that, Karma Yoga and Sankhya Yoga, you have a big discussion on this karma. So we have to have a small recapitulation of what is that karma. Karma is action, any type of action. Normal meaning is any type of action. Kru is to do, create, creation, karma, kriti, they are again cognate words. That is karma, any type of action, normal meaning. But in the context of Vedanta, karma means, say, not our day-to-day actions like some drinking water and eating food, etc., etc. They are all daihika, deha karma, they are all different. Karma in the context of Vedanta refer to some type of ritualistic action where you do some sort of meditation, where you do some mantra japa, where you perform some yajna, or where you do some donations, etc. And dhanam, yajno, dhanam, tapascheva, dana also is part of that thing. So dhanam, etc. So all these things, they are done according to a particular ritual. And then if some karma phalam is also expected. Every action gives a result also. The point, the thing here is, the scheme, or rather scheme which has been visualized is that every karma gives a result also. A good karma gives a good result, a bad karma gives a bad result. And a man right from the childhood till he dies, he keeps on doing hundreds and hundreds of karmas. So obviously all that karma phala is there. And again all that karma phala does not come immediately. Suppose you go to some shop and then you spend some 100 rupees and then you immediately get what you want. Here you perform one yajna, the result is not immediately given. Suppose somebody is performing yajna for sake of going to Indraloka or something like that. Suppose Indra, Devendra really sends some chariot down in order to pick up this gentleman. This man will say, no, oh no, no, my lord, I will come later. I have to perform my son's marriage, my daughter's marriage, etc. I have got some other work. I have to do so many things. I will come after that. So, visualizing all these things, our books, they have also said that this karma is in your balance. It is something like your bank account. It is something like your balance which is there in the bank. And then this will fructify after death. After death, okay, you go to a nice loka. Loka means a particular type of world. And again, of course, what is the nature of the world, that also we have to see. The nature, it is not as though there is what is called Indraloka somewhere in the sky. Not as though there is what is called Kailasa somewhere in the sky. Loka is lokyate, bhujyate, that is what you experience. You do a good thing, you have a nice experience. You do some other good thing, you have a nice experience. So what all experience, that is a world which is actually created by you only. It is not as though there is a world which is already located, a three-dimensional world somewhere there, some three-dimensional people who are there. It is a world which is created by your own mind. So that is one loka. So anyway, this particular loka, all this karma phala, suppose you do 1000 activities during your lifetime, 1000 good activities. All the activities cannot give result in one janma. So they give rise to various janmas. Janma means birth. Since there is so much of accumulated activity, not only in this janma but also previous janma. So several activities, they give rise to one particular janma. And in that particular janma, you again get the result of all those good or bad activities. So that is generally the scheme. This scheme this is something which is believed by at least 50% of the humanity on the globe, because except the Western nations, all the Eastern nations, they do believe in this karma siddhanta. Because karma siddhanta is, you do a good thing, you get a good result. You do a bad thing, you get a bad result. And you have to jolly well have the result. You have to jolly well undergo either happiness or punishment. Either you have to have happiness, you will necessarily get happiness, you will necessarily get punishment, depending on whatever good or bad activity is done. So this in one way, probably it accounts for, more accountability for a human being. Our religions do not say, all the Eastern religions, they do not say, okay, you commit any sins and God will take away your sins, etc. You are responsible for your actions. You can create your future. Your birth may be determined by your past good or bad activity. But here, you are having the freedom to do good things. So what we have is a sort of combination of determinism and free will, to use modern words. Determinism and free will, to use the words from Western philosophy. It is not as though you are totally, it is not a fatalism. You see, very often we misunderstand that Hindus believe in fatalism. It is not fatalism. Oh, it is all my karma. It is not fatalism. So somebody who has not studied any book, of course, he may be having that level of fatalism. But then what the books say is definitely not fatalism. They say, your birth may be decided by virtue of some whatever good or bad activity a person has done. But then here, after coming here, you have got all the good opportunity to do good things. You are free to choose your own path. So that is what they say. So several karmas, they result in one particular birth. Then again he performs some karma. Then again, not many karmas. Then again he has to get some result. Maybe he may not be born as a human being at all. He may be born as some other celestial being, or he may be born as some other lower animal, something like a dog or cat or something like that, depending on the nature of the karma. So like that, what our scheme says is, each man has to he has to experience the benefit of his experience the result of his karma. So that is one point of view. And then God merely gives you justice. God is somebody, karma phala data, he is called. That is, he does justice, that's all. Whatever karma you have done, there is a measure, and then according to that you are getting your result. So that is what it is. Then, as I said, almost all the countries, all the taken from if you take China, Japan, etc., and all the Southeast Asian countries, we all believe in say karma siddhanta. So this is the one thing. Then in this karma again, there is a small classification. That is, a human being is asked to compulsorily do certain activities every day. That is, early in the morning, you have to get up before sunrise and then get ready, and then before sunrise you have to do that prayer called Sandhya Vandana. This type of Sandhya Vandana has to be done 3 times a day. One is in the Madhyana, that is middle of the day, and one at the end of the day. The end of the day means not sometime in the night, but before sunset. Before sunset, because in olden days we have to see, we have to visualize a situation where there was no electricity. They were all staying in forests, etc., and there was no electricity apart from some lamps and things like that. So in that situation, their day started with the daybreak, and then their day ended with the dusk. So that is what it was. And that is why 3 times that Sandhya Vandana has to be performed. That is something which is a compulsory duty. And Sandhya Vandana, if you see, it is nothing but a sort of philosophical prayer. That is trying to know or recapitulate or recall your say real nature. Your real nature, that you are a thinking being. Your intelligence is something which is not different from the supreme say consciousness. So that is the type of Gayatri mantra we chant in that Sandhya Vandana. Then again, in addition to Sandhya Vandana, there are some other activities. You have to treat your guests. You have to do some Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya means you have to read say whatever Veda is prescribed for you, or which is there in your family line. That is called Swadhyaya Yajna. Then Bhuta Yajna, you have to give food to say even all the living the birds, animals, etc. You have to give food to Atithi, any guest who comes, you have to give food. So like that, there are some other compulsory activities which have been mentioned. So all these things, that is called Nitya Karma. Nitya means compulsory. Then there are some other activities, some other types. For example, there is a marriage, or a person has to undergo some sort of the sacred thread ceremony, that is called Upanayanam, or someone else is undergoing some other ritual. So in that ritual, what all has to be done? So that is again compulsory. It is something which is again something like a Nitya Karma. It has to be compulsorily done. So that is again, that is called Naimittika Karma. There is one Nitya Karma, Naimittika. Naimittika means depending on a Nimitta. Nimitta means a cause. Depending on a cause, it is say performed. So these two are compulsorily to be done. If you do them, there is no great positive thing which is coming to you. But then if you do not do, there is a negative effect. That is one thing. Then in addition to that, there is what is called Kamya Karma. Kamya means, okay, you are well settled, you are having you are doing your normal things, but then you still want something more. You want some more wealth, prosperity. So you perform some yajna. Vedas suggest, okay, you perform this particular yajna, Sudarshana Homam or something like that. You perform this yajna for prosperity. Or some other yajna you do for, say, for attaining some political power, whatever, some physical power or political power. It may be some Chandi Yaga or something like that. So various types of rituals are also told to you depending on your purse. So, of course, if you are a poor man, there again, you need not be unhappy, because Bhagavad Gita tells you, it gives a very, very elaborate meaning for the word yajna. If you read chapter 4 of Gita, there are different types of yajnas which have been told. Different types of yajna means it is not merely spending a lot of money and then involving lot of activity, there is involving lot of activity, etc. It's not like that. Dravya yajnas, tapo yajna, yoga yajnaha, parantapa, Swadhyaya Jnana Yajnascha. So something like that. Yataya Samshita Vrataha. Some such sloka is there in the 4th Adhyaya. That is Dravya Yajna, where you spend money and then you entertain lot many guests and then you give lot many donations, etc. Tapo Yajna. Tapo Yajna means austerity. For somebody whose purse is rather thin, who is not having a lot of bank balance, so such man need not be disappointed. All this Veda is for a rich man, it's not like that. Veda is for a poor man also. So they say, you see, tapas is also very important. Tapas means you do some, say, austerity. You do some upavasa. you are doing some upavasa and then thinking about God, or you are reading some scripture. So that gives you the same result as that yajna gives. And then Atma Sanyama Yajna. Atma Sanyama means self-control. This self-control is more important than that yajna. You may spend 1 lakh rupees on a yajna, but then you may not be controlling your mind. Your mind may be having all undesirable thoughts, and then you may be asking for somebody else's property. You may be trying to snatch somebody else's property. So that may be there. You may be doing a yajna. Even Ravana was doing yajna. Ravana in Ramayana, he was a great scholar in Vedas, and then he was performing yajnas. But what for? He was performing yajnas in order to have more power, and then in order to kill his enemies, vanquish his enemies, etc. So that is a different thing. So the controlling oneself is something which is great. Controlling oneself is something greater than a yajna. That is what is called Atma Sanyama Yogagnav. Gita says Atma Sanyama is again than a yajna. So performing, it is equal to or maybe more than spending 1 lakh rupees on say Dravya Yajna. So similarly, Swadhyaya Yajna. Suppose you are reading Gita Bhashyam every day, you are reading Upanishad Bhashyam every day, or reading some other Veda every day. That is what is called Swadhyaya. Jnana Yajna. Jnana Yajna is ultimately the highest thing. Jnana Yajna means where, you see, Yajna involves some fire, isn't it? And in that fire you are putting various oblations, and then all those things, they are turned into ashes. In this Jnana Yajna, you are sacrificing your notion of I in that fire of Jnana. In that fire of knowledge, you are sacrificing your notion of I. That is, you are losing your I in that. Your I means identification, your social identification. You are the fact that you belong to a caste, you belong to a religion, you belong to a nationality, you have this say particular identity and all that thing. You sacrifice all that, which means you go beyond all that. You go beyond all these things, and then you start loving every human being. So that is what is called Jnana Yajna. And that is why Gita says Jnana Yajna is superior to all other yajnas. Jnana Yajna is, what is that? Shreyan Jnanamayo Shreyan Dravyamayad Yajnat Jnana Yajna Parantapa. This Jnana Yajna is superior to all this Dravya Yajna. So that is what Krishna says in that. So which means that in the overall scheme of things of karma, there is what is called a Nitya Karma, that is compulsorily to be done. There is a Naimittika Karma, where occasionally you have to do, occasionally means depending on a particular occasion. Then Kamya Karma, where there are desire-oriented actions, where you want some Swarga, etc., etc. And then apart from that, there is what is called Karma Yoga also. Karma Yoga is, you see, in this Kamya Karma, you are not getting over this cycle of birth and death. Kamya Karma means, okay, you get more prosperity, you do some more good works or bad works, whatever it is, and then you are perpetually in the cycle of karma. And if you want to get rid of this cycle of karma, which is what is called liberation. The meaning of liberation is that getting out of this cycle of karma. So how to get out of it? You should not have that karma phala. You should not have the fruit of that action. That means you totally disown. I am not the doer, I am doing on behalf of the Lord, because a body has been given to me and some resources are there with me. I have to do, putting myself in the shoes of God, that is performing God's will, that is acting according to God's will, that is putting myself in the shoes of the Lord, and then be as dispassionate as the Lord Himself. Lord is dispassionate. Lord doesn't have any discrimination. So just as Lord does not have any discrimination, He does not have any sort of passion or favoritism. So you are standing with the same equanimity and then dispassion, and then you are performing your duties. And that is what is called Karma Yoga. You are doing it as a sort of your duty. You are doing it as something, an order from the Lord, as part of the divine will. So then, even that will not neutralize all your past actions. The present actions it will neutralize. What about the past actions? If you want to neutralize past actions, you should also know what is called Atma Jnana, that is knowledge of your own self. Once you realize that, once you read Upanishads, once you realize that you are not different from that Brahma, so the same sentences like the Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, these are supposed to be the Mahavakyas, which will give you that experience. And first of all, a mental purification is required. After purification of mind, you have to slowly go through all this process of self-control, etc. And then only the meaning of all these things, they dawn on you. So that is what is this overall scheme. So this karma is there so long as you do not graduate to the path of jnana. Karma has to be done by a person. Karma should not be neglected or ignored, saying that okay, I will now start reading Upanishads, etc. Karma also is needed. All good activities are needed for the well-being of the society. So we have to necessarily do. But then it has got its own limitation. It has got its own limitation. So from that, gradually you have to grow to the level of jnana. That is, try to know who you are. So that is what it means. So in this bhashyam, we will just see, now we can understand the bhashyam in a clear way. Let us see the bhashyam. Sanga Vedaha Apara Vidyokta Rigvedo Yajurveda Ityadina. So the entire Veda, Sanga Vedaha means Vedas along with their Anga. Anga means the limbs, Shiksha, Vyakaranam, etc. There are 6 limbs for Vedas we have seen. Along with the 6 limbs, all that has been categorized as Apara Vidya or inferior knowledge. Rigvedo Yajurveda Ityadina means in that particular mantra. Then Yattad Adreshyam Ityadina Nama Rupa Mannancha Jayate Ityantena Granthena Ukta Lakshanam Aksharam Yaya Vidyaya Adhigamyate iti Para Vidya Savisheshena Ukta. Savisheshena Ukta. Savisheshana Ukta. Okay. So here, then again he is referring to, is just recapitulating what we have seen in the first part. That is, in that first part we have seen the definition of supreme reality, yat tadadreshyam agrahyam, etc. Ityadina, starting from that, nama rupa mannancha jayate, that is the 9th mantra, that is the last few words of the 9th mantra, yes sarvagya sarvavit, etc. Nama rupa mannancha jayate, ityantena granthena means from that mantra to this mantra, from 4th mantra or 5th mantra, is it 4th mantra or 5th mantra? Tatra parargvedo, yattadadreshyam is 6th mantra. From 6th to 9th, 6, 7, 8 and 9. In all these 4 mantras, Ukta Lakshanam Aksharam. So this Aksharam, this imperishable Brahma, what is that imperishable Brahma? That has been described. Lakshanam. Lakshanam means a definition. Ukta Lakshanam Aksharam. That the Brahma, what exactly it is? What is that supreme reality? It has been described. Savisheshena. Savisheshana, with all the, along with its all the attributes. Savisheshana, that is all the attributes of that Brahman. That has been told. What is this? I have noted something. Swavishayi Bhuta Akshara Sahita. Okay. Savisheshena Bhukta. Then Atah Param. Okay. Oh, we have to read this. Atah Param. Anayor Vidyayor Vishayo. Vivektavyo Samsara Mokshau iti Uttaro Granthaha Arabhyate. So Atah Param is thereafter. Anayoha Vidyayoho, of these 2 streams of knowledge, of these 2 levels of knowledge, Vidyayoha Vishayav. Vishayav means the subject matter. The subject matter of these 2 Vidyas, these 2 streams of knowledge, that they have to be distinguished. Vivektavyo. Viveka means discrimination, isn't it? Vivektavyo means these 2 have to be distinguished. So what are they? Samsara moksha. One is, the result of one is samsara, the result of another is moksha. Samsara, you know the meaning of samsara. Samsarati. It is a perpetual movement in that wheel of birth and death. That is what is called samsara. Samsaranam. Sarati means gacchati, moves. But samsarati, samyak sarati, it keeps on moving in that wheel of samsara, in that wheel. So that is why it's called samsara. Then moksha means the release, liberation from this perpetual movement. Then iti uttaro grantha arabhyate. Uttaro grantha means the next part of the grantha is commencing. with that in mind. That is, with that in mind means, in order to distinguish what is samsara and what is moksha. Then, tatra apara vidya vishaya, tatra apara vidya vishayah.
Tatra apara vidyayaha.
Okay. Vidya vishayah, what does your book say?
Vidyayaha kartradi sadhana kriya phalabheda rupa.
Okay. Okay, even that is okay. Vidya vishaya kartradi sadhana kriya phalabheda rupa samsaraha.
Kartradi sadhana kriya phalabheda rupa samsaraha.
Anadihi anantaha dukkha swarupatvad hatavyaha.
Anadihi anantaha dukkha rupatvad hatavyaha.
Pratyekam shariribhihi samastyena.
Pratyekam shariribhihi samastyena.
Nadi srotovad.
Nadi srotovad.
Avyavacheda rupa sambandhaha.
Avyavacheda rupa sambandhaha.
So there is what is called samsara. It is compared to a nadi. Nadi means a perennial river. Let us imagine a perennial river, not rivers which are drying away. So perennial river is something which flows on and on and on. So there is a lot of change in the river. But in spite of all the change, every second the water which is there at a particular point, it has already flowed. Nadi is a pravaha. Pravaha means it keeps on flowing. But that is what is called pravaha nityatvam. That is a sort of eternality, a sort of permanence is there. A sort of permanence, a sort of eternality is there in that pravaha nityatva. In that flow, there is a perpetual flow, there is a perpetuality, there is a permanence or eternality in that particular flow. So this samsara is compared to that eternal flow, because this keeps on going and keeps on going unless a person breaks it by virtue of attaining knowledge of the self. So here, where are we? Atah paramanayoho. Tatra aparavidya vishayah. This aparavidya vishayah. Vishaya means the subject matter. The subject matter of this aparavidya, the subject matter of this lower vidya is what? Kartradi sadhana kriya phalabheda rupaha samsaraha. This samsara is the vishaya. Samsara is the subject matter of this aparavidya, the inferior vidya. Then how is it, what are the characteristics of this samsara? Karta, adi, sadhana, kriya, phala, bheda, rupaha. It is having so many things. There is what is called a karta. Kartradi. Kartradi is kartru plus adi. Kartru is the word. Kartru plus adi becomes kartradi. Karta. Karta is a doer. You see, there is a person who wants to have some prosperity, who wants to achieve some results, who wants some physical gain, some personal gain. So he is the karta. And in order to gain, I perform some ritual. That is the means. That is sadhana. What is my sadhana? Sadhana is some yajna or some other ritual or some puja or some tapas, whatever it is. Then kriya. And in pursuance of that thing, I do also some kriya. I do some activity. In the course of that thing, I do some activity. Then kriya, phala. And as a result of that, I get some phalam. So I am here, I have got a desire, I do some action, I get the phalam. And that phalam is not immediately coming. Phalam will come later. So that is why I have to take births again and again and again. So that is what is samsara. There is a karta, there is a sadhanam. Sadhanam means it may be some activity which has been prescribed by the Veda. Then kriya, some activity, phala. So all these things are there in this samsara. Then this is something which is anadihi anantaha. This is also coming on, right? This is again beginningless. Anadi. This ajnanam is something which is anadi, isn't it? Ajnanam, this so-called ignorance, is something which is anadi. So that is why all of us are in this wheel of samsara. So then anantaha. This ananta, we have to take this word carefully. This ananta is not absolute ananta, it is a relative ananta. Relative means just as pravaha is there, pravaha nityatvam, it is there as long as your ignorance is there. But it becomes end, it becomes a santa. That is, santa means opposite of ananta. Ananta means endless. Santa means that which has an end. So this ajnanam is something which is anadi but santam. So similarly, samsara is something which is anadi but santam. So here Shankaracharya is using this word ananta, and that is why he is again explaining it, nadi srotovat. Otherwise Shankaracharya will not wrongly use that word saying that it is ananta. Anadihi Anantaha Dukkha Swarupatvad Hatavyaha. Hatavyaha means this has to be avoided. Hani, ha dhatu. Ha dhatu is to avoid it. Dukkha Swarupatvad, because the samsara is of the nature of dukkha. So there may be some sukha in this, but there is a lot of dukkha also. The very fact that you are going through this again and again and again, this is something which is not realizing your real nature, that it is a real nature, that you are Ananda Swarupa. The basic point is, what Vedanta says is, you are Ananda Swarupa. The bliss is in you. The bliss is not in external objects. The bliss is not in external objects. Happiness is not in external objects. The happiness is in you. But unfortunately, in this wheel of samsara, you are always seeking happiness from external objects. So that is why only when that object is achieved, you are temporarily happy. And temporarily happy means at that time that desirelessness is there. For a few minutes, for some time, let us say, that desirelessness is there. And immediately after some time, there may be some other desire, there may be some other thing. So you are perpetually in the cycle of that desire and seeking answer for them, seeking them, and then that is again leading to dukkha. If you are not able to get them, you are unhappy. So that is why dukkha swarupaha, it has to be hatavyaha. You have to discover that you are Ananda Swarupa. So that is the meaning. Hatavyaha. Where is this hatavyaha? Pratyekam shariribhihi samasthena. By everyone. Pratyekam shariribhihi, by all the people. Shariribhihi means people who have this sharira. Sharira not necessarily means physical body. We talk about 3 levels of body, isn't it? Sthola sharira, Sukshma sharira, Karana sharira. Karana sharira, of course, is that ignorance, avidya. So Sthola sharira and Sukshma sharira. Sukshma sharira is, that is which is supposed to transmigrate. Sukshma sharira means after the fall of the physical body, the sense organs, the mind, and all the samskaras. Samskaras means the latent impressions of all the good and bad things which we have done in this life. That is the baggage of samskara. All these things are supposed to transfer, go and take into some other body. It may be some ant's body or a dog's body, whatever it is. So, or a human body or a celestial body. So, this is, all these bodies, they will disappear only on self-realization. This shariri bhihi, this word sharira, we have to take all these 3 bodies. All these 3 bodies will be washed away, provided you realize yourself. So that is the point. Shariri bhihi samasthena. Samasthena means totally. Samastam. Samastam means not merely physical body, but sthola sharira, linga sharira, and also karana sharira. Then nadi srotovad avyavacheda rupa sambandhaha. This is something which is nadi srotavat. Srotovat. Nadi srotaha. Srotaha means a flow. This continuous flow, stream. Nadi srotovad avyavacheda rupaha. Avyavacheda means there is no gap. Vyavacheda means a small gap. Avyavacheda rupaha means there is no small gap. You are committing some actions, you are getting some result, and then the physical body is there, and then the body disappears, and then again you take another body. So it is a continuous thing without a gap. So avyavacheda rupa sambandha. Tad upashama lakshano mokshaha. Paravidya vishayaha. Anadyananto ajaro amaro amruto bhayaha. Amruto abhayaha. Shuddhaha prasannaha. Swatma pratishtha lakshanaha. Paramanando advaya iti. So, in the earlier line we have seen what is samsara. Now we are seeing what is called moksha. Moksha is tad upashama lakshanaha mokshaha. Moksha means release or liberation. Liberation from what? Liberation from this wheel. You are perpetually in this wheel. You are just in a tangential way, you just go away. So go away, that is called upashama. Upashama means that is cessation. C-E-S-S-A-T-I-O, cessation of that upashama is that stopping, cessation of that wheel. That is what is called moksha. Upashama lakshano mokshaha. Then that is the paravidya vishayaha. That is the subject matter of this higher knowledge. Paravidya vishayaha means that is the subject matter of this paravidya. Then again, what are the characteristics of this moksha? Anadi, Ananta, Ajara, Amara, Amruta, Abhaya. These 2 words, Anadi and Ananta, they were used earlier also. For samsara also, anadi, ananta was used. Shankaracharya is again immediately using these words because he has, in between he has explained what type of ananta it is. Ananta is, it is nadi srotovat. It is somewhat like a nadi srota. It is not absolute ananta, but it is relative, say permanence, not absolute permanence. So here, Paravidya Vishaya, Anadi. This is something, Brahma is something which is Anadi. Ananta, that is again knowledge. Once you realize yourself, that is endless. That is Ananta. Ajara, where there is no jara, where there is no decay of body, because there is no body. It is only when there is a body, there is what is called jara. So this is something which doesn't decay, Ajara. Amara, same thing, it has no mortality. Amrutaha Abhayaha, it is of the nature of Amrutam. Then Abhayaha, where Abhaya, this Abhaya is again another concept which we have seen in other Upanishads also. Abhaya is because of the notion of limitedness. It is only when you know that you are a limited person, you are facing some threat, say security threat, let us say. So you are thinking that you are a person who is confined to a particular body. Then again, you do not know how somebody else will react to you. He may be your friend, he may be your foe. You do not know. So you are always cautious. So that is why that sense of fear is there. But in the infinity, there is no abhaya. Once you realize that you are not different from that Brahman, the Vedanta, once the idea that sinks into the mind that your personality is, you have sacrificed your personality in that fire of Jnana Agni. So once you realize that, then you are identifying yourself with the infinite. You are not identifying yourself with the limited body. Once you identify yourself with the infinite, there is no enemy. There is no enemy to you. So that is why it is Abhayam. Abhayam. So this is a very good concept which we see in, say, Taittiriya Upanishad and other Upanishads also. Kathopanishad also you get it, Abhayam. Amrutaha Abhayaha. Shuddhaha. Shuddhaha means that which is pure. Pure means consciousness which has no motion in it. Consciousness where there is no duality in it. It is only when there is some duality, knower, known, or something like it, likes and dislikes. Only when such things are there, it is impure. Where you are infinite, there is no such thing as like or dislike. So when there is no such thing as like or dislike, you are Shuddha. Prasanna. Prasanna is again tranquil, because there is no agitation in you. It is only when there is some agitation in you, you are not Prasanna. Prasanna is Prakarshena Sidati. Very happily sitting. Happily sitting means there is no agitation in you. It is only when there is agitation, then you are not Prasanna. So that is Prasannaha. Then Swatma Pratishtha Lakshanaha. Swa-atma Pratishtha. You are established in your own self. You are established in your own self as pure awareness. You are established in your own self as pure consciousness, as that ocean of consciousness where whatever happens on the surface, you are not bothered. You see, in Bhagavad Gita also, you get this metaphor. What is that? Apuryamanam achala pratishtham samudram apah pravishanti advat. You see, samudram is there, ocean is there. And into that ocean, there are many streams coming and joining. And where these streams are coming and joining, there is a lot of tumult and rise of waves and whatnot. But if you go deep into the ocean, there is absolutely no movement. Just go deep into the ocean, maybe 100, 200 feet, there is absolutely no movement. Even there may be a storm outside, you will not know the storm. Rivers are coming and joining, you don't realize. So that is Swa-atma Pratishtha Lakshana. You are like that ocean of consciousness where all these small things which are there on the surface, they just don't bother you. You are just aware of them. You are in the state of pure awareness. That is what is called Swa-atma Pratishtha Lakshana. So what that Gita says there is, a Sthita Prajna is like that. Sthita Prajna is a person where all experiences, they just come and go. He is just neutral. He is looking at them with equanimity. So that is it. Atma Pratishtha Lakshana. And Paramanandaha Advaya. When he is in such a state, he is Paramananda. He is happy. He is supremely happy. And then Advaya, that is non-dual. It is only when there is some duality, there is a fear. There is no duality, there is no fear. Advaya. That fear is only because of duality, isn't it? So this is Advaya. So iti. Then Purvam tavad Aparavidyayaha
पूर्वं तावद् अपरविद्यायाः
विषय प्रदर्शनार्थम आरंभः
विषयप्रदर्शनार्थम् आरम्भः
तद्दर्शने हि तन्निर्वेदोपपत्तेः
तद्दर्शने हि
निर्वेदोपपत्तेः पत्तिः is also okay, पत्तेः is also okay. पत्तेः is षष्ठी विभक्ति, पत्तिः is what is this, प्रथमा. पूर्वं तावद् first of all Aparavidyayaha Vishaya Pradarshanaartham Arambhaha. First of all, we have to know what is this Aparavidya. What is this lower stream of knowledge? Because Tad Darshanehi, he means Yasmat. It is only when you know about it. Tat Darshane means Tad Darshane Sati. It is only when you know that. Tan Nirveda Upapattihi. Upapattihi means Upapattihi Jayate. We can say like that. Upapattehe means because it is like that. So you can say both ways. Tan nirvedo upapattehe. Nirveda means virakti. Nirveda is just dispassion. Virakti does not mean throwing away everything. You are not attached to a thing, that's all. You may be having it. You may be having a thing, but then you are not attached to this. Not physically throwing away everything. Dispassion is an intelligent way of analyzing things and then say keeping them, not depending on them. It is not. It is something different from depression. Depression is something where somebody is depressed because of some sad incident, some sad event, or some sad experience, and then for sometimes he leaves alcohol, sometimes he leaves, for some time he leaves some other thing, etc. That is depression. Depression is something different. Depression is rejection of a thing in a rather unhealthy state of mind. This is dispassion, where you are having certain proper discrimination, you are having proper viveka. And with this proper viveka, you are developing vairagya. Viveka leads to vairagya, that is the primary principle in Vedanta. Viveka means discrimination. Discrimination tells you what is right and what is wrong, what is the real and what is unreal, what is eternal and what is ephemeral, and then you gradually, all these small things you leave, and then you will try to have higher goals. It is only when you have some higher goals, all the lower things will drop off, isn't it? So, tad darshanehi tan nirvedopapattehe. Because it is only when you know the limitations of this aparavidya, it is only when you know the limitations of this, say, lower stream of knowledge, then you will think, okay, all this is okay. There is what is called heaven. Heaven is an extension of physical desires, and it is not so great. Then that is again, there is a time limit for that. Then again you come back, and then you are again in the wheel of samsara. So this rejection, getting beyond the wheel of samsara can take place only by self-realization. So then you realize that that is a small thing, and then you go beyond that. Then nirvedopapattehe tathacha vakshyati. Is the time over?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Parikshya lokan karmachitan ityadina.
Parikshya lokan karmachitan ityadina.
Nahi apradarshite.
Nahi apradarshite.
Pariksha upapadyate iti.
Pariksha upapadyate iti.
Tat pradarshyayan aha.
Tat pradarshyan aha.
Tadetat satyam avitatham.
Tadetat satyam avitatham.
Okay. Tathacha vakshyati. Vakshyati means the text is going to say. Vakshyati. He will say. That he, not he, the text will say. What is that? Parikshya lokan karmachitan. Having examined all these lokas which are achieved by you by your karma. So anyway, this again it will require some little bit of explanation. We will continue in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.